Sense of humor.
Yeah, sense of humor.
We're going to laugh a lot.
Yes.
It's very important to me. It's very important to you.
Yes.
Even though what we do is like tragedy at its worst sometimes. Like sometimes we are carrying the weight of the world on our shoulders, literally. Our clients' well-being is like, in your old days, it was the difference between, jail or no jail.
Life and death.
Life and death.
Yes.
And for me, it's always been civil, but huge consequences. Like, are you going to be in a nursing home your entire life, or are your family going to be able to take care of you at home because now you have some funds? So, that said, we find time to laugh. We have to. Why is laughter so important?
Laughter is important because it grounds me. It grounds the case. It grounds everything into a reality that I can handle. I mean, it's traumatizing to deal with people's pain, and you're constantly surrounded by it. And I can't turn it off. I don't know how people do that. Like, oh, I'm going to go home now. I'm going to turn it off. I can't do that. I am constantly absorbing it. And it's a strength, but it's like it comes with a lot of consequences. And humor is the way. That is my medicine.
And see, I'm different than you in that I can turn it off.
Oh, I can't.
I am compartmentalized person, so I can turn it off like as good as anybody can. And I talk about putting it up on a shelf, like I can make that switch. Now, there's times when I don't.
Yeah.
And that's because I need to. Like, my kids will remind me, like, you need to leave that alone, and I'll put it back there. But in general, I can do it very easily. But I still have to cope with it, and I still value laughter. I value laughter because without it, I think the world isn't as bright. And I love my job, and if all we are is serious,
Yes.
then it's not bright.
No.
So you have to have time, in my opinion, for all the emotions. Laughter, joy, happiness, even in the midst of terrible things.
Yes.
And then the terrible part.
Yes.
So I feel it all, the whole spectrum of it. But I really enjoy laughter. Yeah. Okay, so tell me a funny story about being a public defender.
Funny story is I was, without getting into details, but I was sitting down and meeting with somebody, and the case involved very serious crimes. I mean, very serious crimes. And
wait, you can't just say very serious crimes. Give us some examples.
like murder.
Okay, well, that's serious, Mo. That's a serious Saval.
Okay, multiple murders.
Oh, multiple.
And I'm in the jail visiting, like hanging out.
Wait, what jail?
I can't give details,
Okay.
but I was in a jail and I was visiting, and I was in the jail and I was visiting, and then the lights went out.
Wait, who's in the room with you?
Just me, and the person, and the lights went out, and it was like,
was the guy free to walk around?
yes, and so was I.
So not shackled like in the movies.
No, and then the lights went out, and I'm sitting there, and it's
Wait,
dark.
were there windows?
No.
Was it just like all concrete walls?
Yes.
Like you see in the movie?
Yes.
With the big overhead light?
Yes.
And then there's nothing else?
Yes.
Where's the officer? There's no officer in the room?
It was a confidential meeting.
Okay.
And the lights went out.
All right.
And the lights go out, and I'm just sitting there. And I am terrified.
Oh, no.
I am terrified.
Serves you right.
Right? And then I'm like, and no one's saying anything.
Oh, God.
So that was...
How long did they stay out for?
They were out for like 3 minutes.
Okay, that's a lot.
That's a long time.
And wait, did you just sit there quietly?
Yeah, what the heck am I going to say? I didn't know what to say.
Could you hear him breathing?
Yeah, I heard the breathing.
Was he walking around or he was just sitting there?
All I know is that the lights came on and I was sitting farther away than I originally was because I moved myself to the far corner of the cell
God.
because I didn't know what was going to happen.
No.
But that was a moment when I was just like, wow. But it also, nothing happened, but it just shows like how you think, now I laugh about it, and then you have to laugh about it. Why we shouldn't have been scared of anything? There was nothing to be scared of.
Oh, yeah, there was. He was a multiple murderer. Did you have a pen? He could have, like, I've seen in the TV where they jab the pen right through your jugular.
No, I had a number 2 pencil.
Like I said, even worse. Those are like, the, it stab you in the eye.
I know. But
You're lucky to be alive, Mo.
I am lucky to be
Okay.
alive. But I thought that was funny. That was funny.
It's funny now. It wasn't
Funny
funny
now.
at the time.
No.
Okay. Is there another one?
Another one is that this from being a public defender. Oh, I have a terrible habit where it's a terrible habit. I didn't speak English when I came to this country, and when I started to learn English,
Wait, what language did you speak?
I spoke Farsi.
What's Farsi?
Farsi is Iranian.
Okay.
And
Are you Iranian?
I'm half Iranian, half Iraqi.
How's that possible?
It's ironic. That's what. It's ironic.
I mean, how is that possible?
Well, how's that possible? Because
like Romeo and Juliet.
Mom was Iranian, dad was Iraqi.
I know, but they hate each other.
They do, but those two fell in love.
Yeah.
And notwithstanding the war between the two countries, those two fell in love. And
Yeah.
they had kids.
Wait, so how come you spoke Iranian and not Iraqi?
Iranian and not Iraqi, because I was raised in Iran,
Okay.
not in Iraq.
All right, but we digress.
We did digress. And so when I came and moved to this country, I didn't speak English very well. I spoke with like very broken English, very limited English. And then I used to listen to movies and radio to pick up how to speak. And for whatever reason, I now pick up people's accents. It is the weirdest thing. So
You're a chameleon.
And so I had this family that I was representing their person, their human in court, and they were from an African country. It was terrible. I was picking up because I'd been speaking to them for hours. I'm in court and I'm picking up the accent, and my colleague is like, "What are you doing? What is this accent coming from?" But that will happen, and that's why sometimes people go, "Are you from New York?" Because I lived in New York for like 10 years, and it will happen to me. It'll sound like I'm from New York. Yeah.
That's hilarious.
Yeah. So that's another funny one, I think.
All right, well,
What about you? What's your give me a funny story.
oh my God, I have too many.
Give me a good one.
Funny?
Yeah, like funny, like
Mine are all horrible.
what do you mean horrible?
They're horrible, but they're funny when you talk about them. They're not funny when they happen. Like this wasn't a funny thing. It was horrible, and then it became funny, like the story that you told.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so it was bad, and then okay,
Yeah.
give me one.
Well, like one of them that was bad was I was a defense lawyer. So I started out being a defense lawyer. It was a wrongful death case, horrible wrongful death case where a Metro driver had hit this young man and drug him around for hours underneath the bus before he was pulled over, and he was still drunk. He'd been drunk from the night before. He was so intoxicated. And I represented Metro. I represented the bus. So I was taking depositions at the attorney's office for the family. And it was a small house up on Capitol Hill. Dwayne Richards and Lori Knirk were the lawyers. Lori was defending some of these depositions. And I was taking like the aunt, the uncle, the survivors of this young man. And she had gone upstairs. It was, like I said, a small old house had been converted. She'd gone upstairs to get something from her office. We were taking a break. And the uncle got up. And the whole room was like no bigger than this room, smaller, with a big conference table, so you could hardly get around it. He got up and he called me a money grubber. I think he said bitch, and came at me.
What?
Yeah. But he was at the other end of the table, so he came going around the table. So I got up, and this is when, now I wear tennis shoes, but at the time I was wearing, typical 3.5 or 4-inch stilettos. So I started running clockwise. So he was coming after me, and I was running the other way, and he was yelling the whole time. And I was going, Lori, get down here. Chased me around that table, stops. And then we reverse course, he goes the other way to try to get me. And eventually I ran out of there knowing he was right on my back, but I could hear her starting to come down, and he was ready to punch me or do me bodily ill. And she said, knock it off. And he did.
Wait, so you were running around the table?
Mm-hmm.
Wait, was there anybody else there?
The court reporter and one other person.
Were they just watching?
Yeah, they were just watching
it.
Going on? They were watching it.
That's funny.
It's funny now.
But now you're on Zoom, so that won't happen. But
yeah,
that's scary. And
I wasn't so much scared as I was just I don't want him to hit me. If he hit me, he's going to get in trouble. And also, I don't really want him to hit me. That won't feel good. I didn't think he was going to kill me or anything, but he definitely wanted to do me bad.
Yeah. He just wanted to get his hands on you.
Yeah. Most of my stories are things like that.
That's terrible. That's okay. That's not okay. It's funny, but that's terrible that's most of your stories. People chasing you and trying to beat you up.
Or being mean to me.
Being mean to you.
Okay. All right.